Hello and welcome to RPGs Uncovered for another episode of our WIP Workshop series. This is a series dedicated to helping you find new games and helping indie TTRPG creators out there who are trying to create these new games meet audiences so they can find not only new players but people to support the creation of their game and all of their creative content. We have returning to RPGs Uncovered, a previous star of one of our RPGs Uncovered series, Alex Rinehart, of course, the creator of Cyberrats. We are here today to talk about a new expansion for Cyberrats. Rise of the Briny Bastards. I am very excited about this. The Cyberrats season of RPGs Uncovered, that was season 4, I believe. Yeah, season 4
I think
uh,
four.
was one of the most fun seasons, one of the most fun games I've had while having this Twitch channel. It was a lot of fun. It was great, Alex, to have you on for that season to get you as a player. It's great to have you back to talk about Rise of the Briny Bastards. So, if you want to learn more about Cyberrats, the base game, we're going to go into it a little bit just to give you a little bit of a foundation. But if you want to look into the game more specifically, learn how to play, get some cool resources, all the stuff I do for the RPGs Uncovered series, you can head over to YouTube when we're done here, or when you're done watching this on VOD or over there, and check out the whole demo play mini series and all of the different tutorials that were put out for Cyberrats, the base game. But we are here to talk about Rise of the Briny Bastards, a new expansion for Cyberrats, and what's interesting about it, I really enjoy having previous games that we've played on again to talk about expansions, because it tends to be a different conversation than just talking about a new game that is currently in development and tried to crowdfund. The game is already complete, it is already playable, it has already been played and enjoyed by both of us, so we know what we're talking about. We can reference back to things that you can go and view on RPGs Uncovered series, but we get to look at all of these new features and all this new expanded content and really dive into the little nuances of the game. So I've been talking enough. Let me throw this over to Alex. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It has been a delight to be on this show in the past, and I am really excited to be here and talk about Cyberrats and this upcoming expansion.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I will attempt to keep the gushing to a minimum, just because we only have so much time for this interview. But let's start off with creating that baseline, that foundation of what Cyberrats is before we jump right into Rise of the Briny Bastards. In case anyone who hasn't seen Corpo-Rat Shills, our RPGs Uncovered series. So Cyberrats, it does what it says on the tin, right? You're a bunch of rats. You're big. You got cybernetics. It's all kinds of great stuff, and that is a beautiful book. Shout out, of course, to Boog. Am I
Yes,
pronouncing that correctly?
yes.
Boog, who does the
Ooh.
art for Cyberrats, the base game, and I assume they're coming back for Briny Bastards.
Oh, yeah. And in fact, the base game is in black and white. This expansion is in full color. And like, look at this cover. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
are unleashing Boog here when we give him full color. Like, his black and white inks are incredible,
Mm-hmm. But his
but
color use is
it's
unreal.
it's just remarkable. Go and look at the Kickstarter
Mm-hmm.
and just revel in what he's done. There's one that's inspired by Jack Kirby that I just can't stop looking at.
Yeah, very comic book, very like 90s, 2000s Saturday morning cartoons. Man, I would love a Cyber Rats like animated series. So, if anyone out there, thinks that's a good idea, I have a story pitch for you. It's called Corpo-Rat Shills. Anyway,
There is so animation is really expensive,
yeah.
but in the works we have a Cyberrats radio hour
Mm-hmm.
that was supposed to come out this year. Our editor's been having some life issues, but coming soon. And unrelated, one of our stretch goals for the campaign is a novella
Yes.
in the Cyberrats universe, which may take some inspirations from Corpo-Rat Shills. We'll see.
Ooh. Well, I'm available if you need a consultant at all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would talk with you before taking any of that. But
Yeah.
that was just a blast, and like that campaign has. I'm not saying it's an adaptation of that, but that campaign has colored what Cyberrats is
Mm.
to a point where like it's part of the soup. Like it was just so fun and so pure doing that. So I'm not saying I'm adapting that, like that is your work, but there's just so many elements of like that you brought to life of like how the inner politics work on the ship that is just rife for exploring that downtime of like what's happening when
Mm.
they're not on a mission.
And
That
of
like
course, shout out to the other three amazing people on that show. Absolutely incredible cast. It would not have been nearly as good if we did not have the masterpiece cast that we did. Um,
100%.
but we could spend this whole hour just gushing about Corpo-Rat Shills, I'm sure. But let's focus back on setting the foundation for what Cyberrats is. You can go check that out. There you draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of different things, and obviously you're drawing even more for Rise the Briny Bastards. But very XCOM based. What other inspirations, not just media, but gaming inspirations? What led you to create Cyberrats, the base game?
So I've talked about this before, including with you. The biggest Cyberrats started as a Shadowrun clone. I wanted to take the parts of Shadowrun that I liked and get rid of the parts that I didn't. Uh,
I love
me
Shadowrun.
and me and hundreds of other designers. Uh, but the other biggest influence is now there's just a very little bit of Shadowrun left in there. The other influences were, of course, XCOM and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A lot of that. A little bit of Animorphs, and there's a oft-forgotten game called Atlas Reactor that was around for about 2 years, and then it died, and it holds a special place in my heart that nothing else has been able to fill. And Cyberrats is in many ways my love letter to Atlas Reactor.
Excellent, excellent. I will have to look into that.
There's no way to play it anymore, but
Mm,
it's basically it's XCOM plus Overwatch, except you have to plan out your phases ahead of time. So you commit to
mm.
what you're doing, and then everyone actions happen at the same time,
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I can see
and
that. I can see that.
it's just remarkable.
Awesome, awesome. Well, before we scare anyone away with the scary Shadowrun word, because I know that's dangerous to mention, this does not have the complexity of Shadowrun, and the book is way better designed and understandable. And
And
specifically,
a
this is
fraction of the
and a
size.
yeah, yeah. And this is a Lumen-based game, an illuminated RPG. So very
That's
simple
right.
dice mechanics, and a lot of the rules cases attached to them. Just sort of build off and help define the world and your own lens and your own interactions with each other. We're gonna see even more of that with all of the expansion content in Rise of the Briny Bastards. All right, so so basic pitch for Cyberrats. I mean, I know how I would pitch it. You are playing in a dystopian cyberpunk setting. Uh, Except you are on the other side of things. A term that we have coined, I forget who originally came up
I
with it,
think it
but
was Q.
I think it was Q, with cyber complacency. We are not the cyberpunk side of things, we are the cyber complacent cyber things. The characters of a cyber rat game are the cyber rat interns, owned by
Yeah.
the big mega corporation that well, instead of fighting against this megacorporation is fighting against other megacorporations, and most importantly, a group of aliens who have shown up and are trying to take over the world. That is the general premise. There is a lot more nuance to it, but you are rats in various forms, whether they be a rat in a people suit, or whether you're a whole bunch of little rats in a big psionic puddle. All kinds of great stuff that you can play around with. All kinds of fun little classes that you can play that give you different powers to do things throughout the missions and even in downtime and stuff like that. And a lot of really fun enemies from other like rivals that may be people or rats part of other corporations, from military soldiers and specialists to, of course, the aliens, and all of the crazy forms and powers that they take. But we're going to see even more of that with the Briny Bastards themselves.
So
All right.
I wanna just
Yeah.
jump in on that.
Oh, please.
Of course, we add a whole new faction of the Briny Bastards in the expansion. One of the enemies from the base game is the Kaiser,
Mm-hmm.
and they are like kind of a plant-like spiky alien that is like the final most threatening alien you can fight before the big bad. And that is actually now a playable mutator in the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So like some of these have defected, and you can be the guy who was roughing up your business the entire last campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's always fun when you get to recruit the bad guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure the cast of Corporate Shills have some things to say about Kaisers. I know I use them against you. Uh,
Yes.
all right, so let's jump into Rise of the Briny Bastards itself. I'm gonna look at some of this expansion content, and again, one of the fun things about looking at an expansion to an existing game is that the base rules are already there. So we're not going to talk too much about how to play the game. A lot of that is already covered on the RPGs Uncovered series, so you can go check that out if you're interested. But we're going to look at the different add-ons that are being introduced with with Rise of the Briny Bastards, and I really like the avenue, the pursuit you've taken with this expansion, in that it can all be applied sort of a la carte. Take what you
Yes.
want, leave what you don't want, whatever works best for you and your players and your game and your table and whatnot. And this is going to be a big book, jam packed with a lot of great stuff that you can look through and use to your desire, whatever level you want. And I was thinking for any D&D fans out there, because we are in the TTRPG space, it kind of has that sort of Tasha's book, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, or whatever that book may be, where it introduces a whole bunch of new optional features that can be added. You can look at new races, new classes, throw in new optional features, but all of it is you can pick and choose what you want, dial it up and down. So that's the general basis for Rise the Briny Bastards.
Yes.
Awesome.
So yeah, you mentioned it's big. We don't have a final page count right now. This book is going to be comparable in size to the base game. It might be bigger.
Hmm.
We'll see. I don't want to. That's not a promise. I really don't know. Like we have a version that is almost text complete, has not gone to layout yet. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
There are more than 14 different modules that, again, you can a la carte add in and mix and match as you choose.
All right. So I'm not sure we're gonna have enough time to talk about everything in this book. Uh,
No.
but let's go down some of the key things that you're trying to portray and promote, specifically on your Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is currently active, right?
Yes, that's
uh
correct.
that
We're on
kicked
day
off,
three.
yeah, day three, and you're already over two-thirds of the way there, it looks like.
That's right.
That's very exciting. We're going to talk more about the Kickstarter itself and the pledge goals and all of that in a little bit. Let's talk about some of the content of Rise of the Briny Bastards. So there's a lot in here. I skimmed through. I'm going to pick out the things that I found most exciting, and please jump in with anything that you definitely want to include. One of the first ones that we see on the Kickstarter is a brand new submarine.
Yes.
Kind of new home base, but it's also mobile. It adds in kind of a whole new mission tag and way to approach the game.
Yeah. So the submarine, we knew we wanted a submarine, and just like pulling behind the design curtain a little bit, the first design I had was terrible. I was playtesting it, it was not fun, and I was going to write it out entirely. And my friend Chris was like, why don't you make it a push your luck mechanic? And that night I went home and completely redesigned it. So thank you, Chris, if you're watching. The way the submarine works is every time the operatives can go on a mission, can take the submarine. And if they do not heal up after that mission. They don't get their biotech back, they don't get their resources back. But in order to surface, they have to pay off a fuel cost. Every time they're on a submarine mission, their the loot that they get is basically doubled. So if they take it once, they have to decide, okay, is it worth paying off the fuel cost for just one little bit of extra loot? Or are we all like close enough to being healed that we can go in and do another mission and just keep doubling our loot over and over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
So it really has this like high lethality balance. Like it's a trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
And like Jack, you know how lethal the base game
Oh yeah.
is. Not being able to heal or recover biotech is in many cases a death sentence.
It certainly can be. Yeah. Uh yeah, so you basically have to decide as a group if you want to keep going, if the group is healthy enough, they have enough biotech to keep casting powers, they have enough health to survive. And how long you want to keep going down this line, but every time you get an extra 1d6 script, which of course is the loot that you're talking about, which is the single primary currency of Cyberrats. It's what helps you buy gear, upgrade your gear, pay off your you know ownership by the company, all kinds of stuff that you use script for. So being able to continually add more and more script, if you think you can handle it, it can really be a lucrative new way to play the game.
That's correct. Yeah. It is definitely dangerous, but that payoff is huge, especially early game when script can be so valuable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's a particular quote I enjoy from the book here. The submarine can get to any location, even a desert mission, though sometimes that means the operatives might have to carry it there themselves.
That yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And
It
that's just honestly, that's like a little bit of a joke, but it's mostly there so that the GM can never be like, oh, like you had a bunch of missions on the caldera of a volcano.
mhm,
And it's like, does it make sense that a submarine goes here? That's not the question. This is a
right.
Saturday morning cartoon.
Exactly.
The question is, are we taking the submarine again?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I can just see that in the animated series. You're on the side of like a desert cliff face somewhere, and they're like, "Man, that was a great submarine ride." And somebody, "How did we get here?" And the camera pans back, and you see this big muscly rat with the submarine on his back. Love it. Love it. Yeah, so the submarine adds a whole new mission tag to the game that is in addition to the missions that you are already taking and allows you to push your luck for more reward when you are done. So that looks like a really interesting new way to play the game. Uh,
So our we had three goals with this expansion,
yeah.
and those were to improve shortcomings from the first book. And I'll be upfront. The biggest one is the stealth rules. The Briny Bastards has new and improved stealth rules that are miles better than what the base game had.
Mm.
The second was to give players more of what they wanted, which is mostly tactical things.
Mm-hmm.
And the third is, and also options for managers. The third is to give players and managers things they didn't know they wanted. And that submarine falls firmly into that third category.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I believe I read that the submarine also comes with new rules and upgrades that you can purchase,
Yes,
just like your home base.
that's right. Yeah, we have doubled down on the base building here.
Love it.
So the submarine has all sorts of upgrades, including just a torpedo that can basically one-shot any enemy, and it completely ruins any stealth mission.
Mm-hmm.
But you can just make a hole in a wall. You just make a line from any one player or enemy to the submarine, and every wall in between is gone.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, when it's time to go loud.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake just now. I mentioned the torpedo, and I should have mentioned the harpoon cannon,
Mm.
which is rendered in all caps because you can just, harpoon anyone or anything directly to the submarine.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, you also talked about adding new tactical features, new options for players and also managers. Of course, you have new mutators introduced in this book.
Yes.
Of course, mutators are the races, species, whatever you want to call them, and new careers added to this book, which is, classes or roles or whatever you want to call them. So we have, let's see here. Do you mind me spoiling some of these?
Go
So we
for it.
have the robot, the Cyberrat, and of course you've already mentioned the Kaiser.
Yes.
There's a new special place in my heart for this skeletal rat.
Uh, that is the skeleton rat is probably the most popular in all the playtesting that I've done.
Of course.
Um, it it has an ability that again is really a push your luck kind of thing, where you gain extra money after every mission, but you reduce your maximum hit points by two.
Mm.
And for reference, most people have like 6 hit points.
Mm-hmm.
So reducing by two is not negligible.
Yeah, yeah, it's big. Yeah, so some new mutators, of course, each of which not only dictate the form that your character takes, which is so much fun, but of course gives you new powers that you can use, like the one you mentioned. So you can be fully robotic instead of just being put in like a cybernetic human suit. You can play as the Kaiser, you've already mentioned, the defector from the interloper alien enemy. And I
Mhm.
just love that, even after death, the corporation still has a grasp on you. No, you're dead. We're bringing you back. We got your skeleton. We're going to pump you full of ectoplasm. You still got to pay off your debt.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're on the schedule, okay?
Yep. You
Nothing
were
we can
scheduled
do
to
about
come
it.
to work today. It's not my fault that you're dead.
Yeah,
Get your dead ass
it
in
might
here.
it might be my fault as
Well,
your
yeah, that's true.
manager, but the schedule's the schedule.
Sure. So we have some new mutators that can be played around with, and they look really exciting. And then we have new careers, the pirate, the engineer, and the leviathan.
Yes.
So tell me a
And
little bit. Yeah, tell me a little bit about them.
so the pirate is we decided to just lean into it. You're a
Mm,
pirate, you're a rat, you're a pirate. Each of these careers has two different specializations. You have the privateer, which is about doing pirate shit. Can I say pirate shit?
sure.
It's about doing pirate shit. Um, it's about a lot of movement. It's a lot of harpooning people and blunderbussing things. And then there is the seaman, because we are 12. And you can be a seaman, and that lets you do fisherman things like taking a line and reeling people in close to you.
Mm,
Uh, and there's all sorts of like spyglass stuff where you can just ignore range limits. Uh, it is all about being a fisherman and being, thank you, Melly in the chat. Um,
mm.
yeah, it's all about doing fisherman things. And just being this book is full of semen. Okay. It is oozing with semen. That's the book.
Yeah.
Buy it on Kickstarter right now.
All right. Rise
I'm
of the
sorry,
Briny
Jack.
Bastard, folks.
I'm sorry.
Chock full of nautical innuendo.
Yes. That'll be the last one of this stream. You were
uh,
so kind to bring me on, and that's how I treat you.
right. No, no, we're having fun. It's great. It's great. All right, and of course that was just the pirate. When this comes out, you can look
Yes.
forward to the engineer and the Leviathan, which with a name like Leviathan, I think it's best just to keep it a mystery, really.
All I will say about the Leviathan is that I had to invent a legally distinct Shark Week
Mm,
for the lore here.
yep.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
But yeah,
love it.
the engineer is all about interacting with drones, which are another really cool
Mm-hmm.
mechanic, which I'd like to say a little bit about.
Yeah, please.
So, a drone, every single person knows that the best part of your Saturday morning cartoon is the robotic friend. And every single operative gets one because we want to sell merchandise. That's
There you
mostly not
go.
true. But if we were, like, this would sell off the toy line. You get to pick a drone and you can teach it tricks, but the tricks are mostly violence because it's that kind of game. And basically, the drone gives you like a passive ability that can just help you move faster or do more damage, or you can destroy the drone, boom, blow it up, and get a one-time active ability.
Mm.
And it comes back next episode, don't worry. But again, there's this push and pull mechanic. One of the main themes of this expansion is this like push your luck, carrot and stick kind of thing. So with this, it's like, do I want to keep this like low, subtle, passive bonus, or do I want to, activate this and get the big boom for this special effect?
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Yeah, a cyberpunk game or cyber complacent game has to have drones. I love it.
Yes.
Love them.
And everyone can use those. It's just that the engineer gets more than everyone else, can
Mm.
use them in extra special ways.
Nice, nice. All right. Yeah, so we have some new player character options. We have a new sort of base mobile base mechanic. To go along with that, I see we have a whole bunch of potential new gear, some new mission tags to make missions more more varied, more interesting. Haven't
Yes.
taken a look through all of them, but some of them look familiar.
Yeah, I mean, one of the suggestions that came up repeatedly during Corpo-Rat Shills, which you ran, was a heist mission.
Mm-hmm.
I think every single person, including several people in the chat, wanted that. So I'm pleased to announce that we have given in. This is that second category, giving players what they ask for. We have rules for heists. That is a longer, drawn out mission where you try to remain undetected and pull off a heist. And I know, Jack, that's right up your alley. With mine, when I run Cyberrats, I tend to do a lot of very quick missions, and you seem to prefer like the big set pieces and the
Yeah.
longer. So this heist is made with you in mind.
I'm eyeing it up. I you already know I have plans for this. Yeah, so we have this new heist mission type, and you were saying new revised rules for stealth. Probably can't go entirely into it, but pitch this new stealth mechanic.
Yeah, the stealth in the base game was kind of a last minute addition. It was something we felt like we needed but didn't know how to do.
Mm.
So for this game, I went and talked to a bunch of people who are much better at stealth than I am. And basically, without getting too into it, players have a bunch of options they can do before a stealth mission to like do footwork or try to break in that have this risk and reward. And when they're actually on a mission, they can do things to reduce the awareness that they've gathered.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fully compatible with the base game, but it adds a lot more options for the players and a lot more tools for the GMs to respond to this stealth.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, for the most part, if I'm remembering correctly, when you jump into a mission of Cyberrats, you basically jump straight into the action. There's
Yes.
not a lot of there's not a lot of the sort of XCOM style, sneak your way around the side of the battlefield and set up the perfect possible opening salvo or whatnot.
Right.
Though of course there was the awareness stat that can go up based on what you were doing. That mostly just adds new complications. So I'm very interested in looking more into the various ways that you can help set up for this more this heist style mission. So I'm gonna be looking into this more. We're gonna talk more about this one on one because we have a heist mission on the books at
Yes.
some point. We'll have. I'm constantly saying it's gonna come back, but it's gonna come back. So awesome. New mission type, new stealth features. Very much looking forward to that. Adding a lot more, as you said, tactical gameplay with gear and mission types, and of course new enemies, which we
Yeah.
can talk a little bit about. It's there. There seems to be quite a few of them. Uh, so let's talk a little bit about some of the big ones.
So this is Rise of the Briny Bastards, which means there are three giant briny bastards
Mm-hmm.
that each come with their own little cohort. So one of the big ones is the progenitor, which just hatches little eggs that you can safely ignore, but they hatch into things that make your life very, very miserable very, very quickly.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm eating on stream.
All right, so we have the Briny Bastards, which I believe are the lieutenants
Yes.
in this preview you sent me, and they each have access to cohorts. So what cohorts I believe are new. What are these cohorts that these sort of new boss enemies
Yeah.
have?
Basically, the manager every round gets a number of cohort points that they can either save up to purchase the big scary monsters, or they can spend right away to get a whole flood of tiny monsters. And the difference between the cohort and the regular monsters is that the cohort activates every round,
Mm,
in addition to the number of monsters that the manager can normally activate, which is
right.
one plus the number of characters. So basically, the manager has to make a choice again between, do I want one big scary monster or a bunch of tiny, less scary ones?
Mm-hmm. Now that sounds like a great new addition for the manager side of things, because there are definitely places where you want to just flood the player characters, which I have done, and there are cases when you just want to bust wall down with one big scary boss monster, which of course we did as well. So having the option to really tweak that slider mid combat, mid mission is going to be a lot of fun for managers, GMs out there.
Yeah, and the Briny Bastards are meant to be recurring villains, so they show up and they only stay for the first 2 or 3 rounds of combat, and
Mm-hmm.
then they leave. So you can ignore them, and they'll go away.
Mm-hmm.
But if you manage to defeat them, they drop special loot. If you don't defeat them, you can choose to fail an extra mission to go and hunt them down and fight them on their own turf.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's like some of those added boss enemies to XCOM. It's been
Yes.
too long since I've played that. But the new aliens, yeah. So that
So
that
yeah,
looks like a lot of fun.
heavily inspired by War of the Chosen here.
That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah. Because we like one of the tools we give in this expansion is more opportunities for players to choose to fail more missions,
Love it.
which is not like a good thing to do, but the incentives we offer to do it really make up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that this seems to be adding. We brought it up a number of times already. The risk reward sort of push your
Yes.
luck mechanic. I think a lot of these are great additions along that line of thinking. All right, let's Yeah, as I said, this is chock full of stuff, so we're not going to be able to talk about all of it. But the one other feature I definitely wanted to make sure we mention was the new relationships added in this book.
Yes.
And not just the flirty kind, but you can have rivals, really professional relationships, confidants. Give us the quick rundown of this new relationship downtime.
So I just want to pop in. Jack mentioned that he didn't have time to go through all of this. The document I sent him is like 80 pages
Mm-hmm.
unformatted.
Yep.
So there's a lot of stuff here. Sorry. Um, Relationships. After a mission, you can develop a relationship with another operative. And this was something that we were developing this during Corpo-Rat Shills.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted so bad to bring these mechanics in,
Because we had
especially
such good
for,
relationships on that series.
well, and like every single person had JD's character as a confidant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, just let them use the so if you want to be a confidant, you tell someone a secret and you write down what you tell them. And you get a little bit of a bonus on missions, but more importantly, when your character dies, their character can normally you write down your next of kin. Your confidant can cross that out and write down one of their operatives instead,
Nice.
and they can just steal all of your stuff that you would be donating to your next of kin. Of course, the crush was the first one we had, where you write down their name on your character sheet, surrounded in little hearts, and then you can jump in front of any damage they would take on a mission. And then afterward, you have to confront them and have like the classic, oh, why did you take that bullet for me kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like one of the first episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine deals with that arc. And like this, it's just everything in this book is meant to either add tactics or role play.
Right. And from what I can see with this relationship section, you do a very good job of doing both. They're all contextualized as far as their tactical advantages and disadvantages that you can gain because of them, and it also prompts, as you said, role play during downtime and even during missions.
Yes. I
I
mean,
love
one,
me some built-in role play prompts.
and that's, I mean, there's a mood table here.
Mm-hmm.
And the mood table is we have an enemy that can just hit you with hallucinogenic slime that makes you roll on
That
this
sounds so
table.
fun.
And you might have to act out the rest of the scene as if you are nostalgic or totally tubular, dude,
Mm.
or a mad scientist, or a young actor overdoing every single line in a desperate attempt to be cast. Like, and it's not, we're not trying to put people on the spot. We're trying to make it so that the manager isn't the only one getting to ham it up.
Mm-hmm.
If you put on a bad accent, that feels bad. But if you're doing it for one round because the game makes you, that's just silly fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're aiming for.
And it's fun role play prompts. And not everybody is an AP live entertainment person. Where not everybody are actors out there. So, and again, this is all a la carte. So if you don't want to use these features, you don't have to. But if you are
Yeah.
playing with a group of people who, benefit from having roleplay prompts, and I love me some roleplay prompts. You can throw out all of these different things. Then for a round, for a mission, or maybe it's incorporated into the growth of your character, you can just have these fun little moments that can really help you grow not only as your character in this game, but even as a role play, player in general. So I think that's all amazing stuff.
Yeah. And like the reason we do this is to play and to
Yeah,
have that kind of fun. And I think that it's easy, especially with tactical games, to get into a very gamist point of view
yeah.
of like, this is very serious. And it's like, we can have that like tactical moment, but also I'm going to act like a hard-boiled detective for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, base Cyberrats, just by the nature of a Lumen-based game, is going to be, fast-paced, very tactical. You're thinking about in terms of move sets and positions and enemy move economy and stuff like that. So having this added built-in roleplay that brings that role playing into the gamist side of missions during play is really fun.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we wanted, is to be a tactical role-playing game.
Nice.
Both.
Excellent. All right, we only have a little bit more time left. Let's talk specifically about the Kickstarter itself. I see we have about 18 more days to go. This looks like it's funding, at least in my time zone, through November 6th. So you guys
That's
have
right.
some more time to look into this. There's a really nice introductory video for this that Alex you put together,
Mhm.
despite some wonky recording issues, which just so fun.
Yeah, I just rolled with it.
I'm so glad you kept that in there. The expansion looks like it's well on its way to a successful campaign. Knock on wood, but this looks like so much fun. Cyberrats is such a great game. I am really hoping that you can reach the audience and get this fulfilled, because I am really looking forward to it myself. So let's talk about some of the pledge tiers and what you can get for them. Now this is an expansion, so it is going to require the base Cyberrats book.
That's right.
Now I believe.
Any tier can get that as an add-on
Mhm.
in either paperback or PDF.
Nice, nice, and you do have both a virtual expansion tier and a physical expansion tier, and then moving your way up on top of that.
Correct. All the way up to the super fan, where for
Hmm.
$500, I will dedicate the book to you instead of my wife, and I will send you Polaroids of her going through each of the 5 stages of grief.
I saw that.
That
Uh,
has been, I've gotten so many comments about that tier. I did it for the first game as well, and
mhm.
people got very upset with me.
Well, all press is good press, right?
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so it looks like we're looking about $10 for the PDF and 25 for the physical.
That's right. And
And
that physical includes the PDF, of course.
yes, and a full color book. So
Yes.
$25 for a full color amazing artwork packed book with all of the content we've talked about and more. I think sounds like a great deal.
And then we also have a couple add-ons.
Mhm.
We have the Nostalgia Pack, which is Pogs, which can also be used as tokens if you're playing in real life. It's going to
So
have boobs art on them.
explain Pogs, because I had to look it up.
Plain Pogs. So a Pog is it's basically a milk cap. It's a little token about an inch or so that has artwork on it, and there are games you can play with them with like your Slammer and your. But really, you're getting these because they can be used as tokens at the
Hmm.
table, or because you're nostalgic and you already know what Pogs are.
Hmm.
And then the other kit is, of course, the Cyberrats Crime Kit, which is a bunch of stickers with just some tongue-in-cheek copy about how most places you put stickers are illegal.
Mm.
But
Yep.
really, it's just you can get Boog's art and put it on your laptop or your water bottle or wherever you want it.
Yeah. On your local bar or the side of your school or any of those fun cyberpunk places to.
I can't encourage that, legally speaking.
Yes.
Wherever they end up, that's between you and your lawyer.
Yeah. All right. So we got a great expansion in both digital form and physical form. A lot of fun add-ons. Great, vibrant, full color artwork. Lots of stuff you can look into. Let's look at some of the funding goals here.
Mhm.
So of course you're looking at 3,000 for the whole finalization of this campaign. That's fully funded.
Yes.
When we get there, what is that going to look like once that is funded?
So, yeah, that is basically the book that I sent you, Jack. It has a bunch of lore, a bunch of art. It is we're not cutting any content from that. That
Hmm.
is how much it costs to make the simplest version of this book that we can. However, at the next tier, which is $5,250, we get to afford a lot more art. So, for a specific example, instead of one splash page for all three of the Briny bastards, each one will get their own separate splash page.
Mm.
we can spend more time looking at some of these new modules and having Boog illustrate them out. So mostly it's new artwork. We are also looking into, if we hit that goal, we will make those pogs full color instead of black and white. And we will add some more flavor to the book. I'll give some spoilers here in this chat. In the last book, we announced, in the first book, we announced this expansion. We said they will return in this book. At $3,000, there will not be another Cyberrats book. That's
yeah. These things take a lot of time and money to put together.
We are also looking into licensing a poem. We've been in talks with Penguin Publishing about getting a poem used that I think will add a lot of flavor. There's a lot of like little small flavor stuff. Again, we're not cutting any content from the book, but it's the flavor, it's the vibe, it's the artwork. Yeah, that's all I want to say on that.
Excellent. Yeah, that's one of the best parts of talking with indie creators, because you can see what they are able to put together, and then you can see what they want it to be. And of course, what they want it to be requires a lot of work and a lot of money and a lot of buy-in from the audience, from the consumer.
Yes.
So be able to get that ultimate edition is going to make it an ultimate edition, I'm sure.
Yes.
So we'll see if we can push for that.
Way more art.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, we are pushing up at time here. Let me just say, if this sounds interesting to you, and it should, go check out the Kickstarter for this. Let's see if I can. I didn't plug the link into what is it? Nightbot, or else Nightbot is gonna.
Approved.
Yeah. So I would drop it, but Nightbot would yell at me. But I will put it in the description for the VOD when it hits YouTube. So if you're watching this there, just scroll down and it'll have a link to the Cyberrats, Rise of the Briny Bastard Kickstarter.
And you can also find it with your favorite search engine.
Yes, of course. All right, go check that out, watch that fun little video, support the project at the tier that you can, and read about all the stuff that we've already talked about. And there's a lot of really fun quotes from some people that you might know if you've watched Corpo-Rat Shills. Some more amazing, beautiful, colorful artwork. And a full explanation of all of the reward tiers and add-ons, and more information about the team, everything that is going into this. So let me wrap up by asking, when this successfully fulfills, what is the what's the production time looking at? When will people get their rewards?
So the base game we'll do PDFs immediately, because those are already ready.
Oh, nice.
But this game, we are looking at, basically, we're giving ourselves a year. We're hoping to be done before then, but we've said November of 2024 is when everything will ship. And we're really hoping, again, that's like our last estimate.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, of course, these things take time, and you always want to build in a little extra wiggle room, because things wiggle in this industry.
Well, and quite frankly, it depends on, if we don't hit that ultimate edition, there's less art to draw, there's less to do, it'll be faster. But I promise it'll be worth the wait.
Yes. Excellent. Well, it has been so much fun talking with you yet again, Alex. I cannot wait for to get my hands on the full Briny Bastards expansion. And again, we're coming back with more Cyberrats here in RPGs Uncovered, because if you watch Corpo-Rat Shills, we have a heist of our own that our cyber complacent cyberpunks, Cyberrats, are looking to accomplish. So we're gonna, now that this is closer to its fruition, especially when it finally succeeds this campaign and gets to fulfillment somewhere around there, we'll see what the timing works out. We'll see if we can feature more of this content from Rise of the Briny Bastards, because it looks just so juicy and delicious to me as a GM, as a manager.
that group you gathered had so much chemistry. I am
Hmm.
always down to reunion with them.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Well, I think that is all the time we have for tonight. Thank you, audience, for joining us. I loved seeing everybody in the chat. Haven't had, the time to interact with everybody, but I've been reading. Great chat. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining me again, helping break this down. I think this was a great pitch and a great promotion for Rise the Briny Bastards.
Thank you so much for letting me come on your channel again.
Anytime, anytime. All right, well, that is all the time we have for tonight's episode of WIP Workshop. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. I think we have a couple more on the schedule coming up. If you want to learn more about them or anything else we are doing here on RPGs Uncovered, please come hang out on Twitter. Give a follow here on Twitch. Go check out our YouTube for everything that I've done previously, including RPGs Uncovered seasons and more excellent indie TTRPGs featured on WIP Workshop previously. And I am now on Blue Sky as well. So, we'll see where everybody in the social media TTRPG platform kind of lands. But we're all over the place. I'm trying to talk to as many people as I can. And of course, RPGs Uncovered has its own Discord. You can find all of that if you scroll down to the About section here on Twitch. It's over on YouTube. You can find it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Alex. It's been a great time. Can't wait for Rise the Briny Bastards. And as always, everyone stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Keep having fun out there. Keep checking back here for more Cyberrats eventually. Happy time zone, folks. Good night.